Taoiseach, it is and was a welcome step, belatedly, to recognise a Palestinian state. But if it's not going to be more than hollow symbolism, something has to follow that assists the Palestinian people in liberating themselves from a regime that is capable of committing what the ICJ believes is a plausible genocide and most reasonable people think is a genocide. Now, the tactic, any reasonable assessment of Israel's behaviour over its entire history is that it seeks to normalise the utterly indefensible, to normalise ethnic cleansing, to normalise annexation of territory, to normalise brutal military action in territories that it occupies, to impose sieges for 17 years and normalise it. And now, what it is doing is normalising the massacre in Gaza. I mean, there's chatter about peace, but Israel just says, no, we're not doing peace. We're not doing ceasefire. We're going to keep going. Now, it is the impunity that Israel has enjoyed for normalising horror, massacre, ethnic cleansing, apartheid, that allows it to continue to think it can ratchet this up. So at what point does the world say the state that is capable of this isn't actually a normal state? It's not the sort of state we should be trading with. It's not the sort of state where our universities should be doing business or engage in partnerships with arms manufacturers providing Israel with the means to do this. Like, at what point, is there any level of atrocity that Israel has to commit before we say, actually, they've gone beyond the realm of normal political practice and maybe we got to reconsider our relationship with this state in the way we eventually did with apartheid South Africa? I'm just asking, is there a point? Because at this moment, it's all words. There's no sanctions, no action, nothing to deter this regime from continuing to massacre Palestinians.
Firstly, can I just say that I don't believe, and I acknowledge on one hand that Deputy Boyd Barrett welcomed, albeit belatedly, albeit said it was belated, that we recognise the state of Palestine. But I certainly just don't believe that anybody sees it as hollow symbolism. I accept the point and the debate and the discussion about the need to do more and what's next and how can we continue to apply maximum pressure. But certainly when I spoke to the ambassador, which is what this question relates to, indeed when I spoke to the president of the Palestinian Authority, when I spoke to many leaders in the region, presidents, kings, prime ministers, I don't think there's anybody who sees this as hollow symbolism, and I don't think Israel sees it as that either. This was a significant step that Ireland, Norway and Spain took, and certainly not one that, I think it's certainly one that goes beyond symbolism. But Ireland has very clearly said, and I very clearly said, that we do believe that the world needs to do more and that the European Union, of which we are a part of, needs to do more too. And that's why we are looking to have a review of the trade agreement between Israel and the European Union, the association agreement. It has been the consistent foreign policy position of the government of Ireland since March that should be reviewed. It's a point that I made again last week at the European Council and one I will make again this week on Thursday and Friday at the European Council. So I just, for people looking in at home and people watching the scenes of horror as the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding, I don't want anybody to think that the Irish government believes we recognise the state of Palestine, we've done our bit. We very much believe that we need to continue to work multilaterally to apply the maximum amount of pressure to bring about the conditions required for a ceasefire. And that ceasefire, there is a ceasefire plan there now and it needs to be taken. There is an opportunity now to stop the violence right now, in the here and now with that ceasefire plan. And there's no plan that is perfect, but the importance of it is it stops the violence. It stops the killing, it stops the brutality, it gets the aid in, it gets the hostages home, and it provides that space for the political dialogue that is always required to bring about peaceful settlement. We know on this island that ultimately the way peace is achieved is through the ending of violence and through dialogue and settlement. In relation to the specific issue of the Tyndall Institution and UCC, I wasn't aware of it, is the honest truth of the matter. I will look into it. I know universities have been actively considering these matters. We've seen that happen in a number of universities and university campuses, indeed, led by the voices of students. I've never felt it's my role to direct universities in relation to research and academic freedom and the likes, but I know it's something that universities do reflect on, and do reflect on seriously, for both the reasons that you raise, Deputy Barry, but also, I think, based on the views of their students and indeed staff who have very clear views in relation to this issue as well. I look to Deputy O'Murcu. I mean, again, to assure you, as I've already said, and I don't wish to repeat myself, but like we are continuing to look with partners as to what more we can do to help bring about an immediate ceasefire. We have taken a number of actions, some of which you've already welcomed in terms of divestment. You have a view that we need to do more, and I'll take a look at the specific Sinn Féin proposals, and I'll come back to you in writing as to where I think they may or may not work.